6 minutes after 12 in Guyana, and you're listening to The Radio with a Difference. I'm Kevin Smith with your news at noon. The government of Guyana released yesterday 2 drafts of new model PSAs, one of which will govern shallow water blocks, while the other will apply to deep water concessions. Citizens now have 2 weeks to peruse the documents that will feature in the upcoming licensing round for the 14 oil blocks. When compared to the controversial Stabroek Block production sharing agreement signed with an ExxonMobil-led consortium in 2016, it is clear that the government made deliberate efforts to close several dangerous loopholes for abuse and revenue leakage. Oil companies and expats are to pay taxes. Guyana will not be on the hook for any losses or claims by the contractor. Oil companies and subcontractors must have insurance to cover spills and other disasters or accidents. Country will have power to approve budgets for oil companies. The oil companies could face penalty for sitting idly on blocks. International guidelines now in place for field development plans and abandonment fund to be controlled by Guyana. And also, stabilization clause now has room for renegotiation. In other news, the owner of a sunken fuel tanker that has caused an oil spill in the Philippines is unable to pay $1 billion the government is seeking to restore its contaminated shoreline and water. The Philippines is a country located in Asia. It is situated in the western Pacific Ocean and consists of over 7,000 islands that are broadly categorized under 3 main geographical divisions. On February 28, MT Princess Empress was carrying over 200,000 gallons when it sank off Oriental Mindoro, southwest of the capital, Manila, discharging its cargo of industrial fuel oil into the waters around the province, threatening the country's marine-rich economy and biodiversity in several areas. Meanwhile, Guyana's Environmental Protection Act, the law that governs the implementation of projects that can pose dangers to the environment, stipulates that each environmental impact assessment produced by a developer must outline, among other things, alternatives that were studied, as well as the main reasons for his choice, taking into account the environmental factors. Though this is required in Section 11.5 of the law, energy technologist, engineer, and physical scientist Alfred Bulai has pointed out that there are no such alternatives enlisted in ExxonMobil's environmental impact assessment for the gas-to-energy project. Bulai explained Section 11.5 of Guyana's Environmental Protection Act declares that every environmental impact assessment shall contain the following information: an outline of the main alternatives studied by the developer and an indication of the main reasons for his choice, taking into account the environmental factors. One therefore expects to find studies of the alternatives to the gas-to-energy project, but there is no studies to be found. And ESSO is claiming that the cost of its Ogle headquarters currently under construction only increased by 7% since 2019. In responding to the statements made by the AFC at its Friday press conference, ExxonMobil explained the figure quoted, roughly $50 million only reflected the 2019 projected spending, and did not include spends for the subsequent years in what was expected to be a 3-year project. It noted that the construction cost of the Ogle Operations Center has increased by around 7% since being funded in 2019, from $150 million for 3 years to around $160 million currently. According to Exxon, the increase was triggered by the spike of commodity prices for construction materials and logistics costs. And in other news, 3 persons were on Monday arrested for assaulting a 20-year-old teacher of the Fort Wellington Secondary School. The teacher, Marlon Daniels, was badly beaten on Monday while at a stationery outlet opposite the Fort Wellington Secondary School. Daniels received injuries to his face, arms, back, and other body parts. The injured teacher said that he started working at the Fort Wellington Secondary School at Onderneming West Coast Berbice in January of this year. Daniels recalled that he was leading his second form students in revision studies when he noticed a fourth form student, which is the accused, sitting at the back of the classroom. The teacher said that while he was addressing the class, the fourth form student shouted explicits. Taken by surprise, Daniels said other students stared at him while others began to laugh. The teacher said he asked the student who uttered a profanity to leave the classroom and started again to use profanities. The teacher then escorted a fourth form student to the headmaster's office where he was scolded. This did not deter the lad from continuing his derogatory remarks. Get the full details in today's Kaieteur News. And just before we head to a short break, let's tell you the partially decomposed body of 59-year-old Neptune Hercules, an employee of Bosai Minerals Group Guyana, who was buried alive early Saturday morning when the Cat D9 dozer he was operating fell into the East Montgomery mining pit. It was on Tuesday evening recovered and removed for burial by undertakers. This brought the 4-day-long search to an end. Neptune was an employee of Bosai for more than 4 decades and was set to retire later this year. Company officials related that he will receive all retirement and pension benefits, and funeral expenses will be handled by the company. Around 16 hours on Tuesday, with the help of a megameter from the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, the dozer was spotted and further digging results in Hercules' body being found. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is the news at noon. We'll return shortly after the break.
This is GHK Lal, inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues, immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Wanting to protect your family during these difficult times of COVID-19 is natural.
Stay at home, wash your hands often, and don't touch your face.
Yes, Daddy.
But are you doing these things too? And do you practice social distancing? Do you keep 3 to 6 feet away when you're shopping? Or at least stay an arm's length away in the supermarket? Remember, children learn from adults. So if you're not obeying the precautions, neither will they. We have to work towards the new normal together to keep our families safe and protected. Be part of the solution, don't add to the problem. Teach by example and do the right things.
A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Agriculture received equipment valued at $150 million through its Sustainable Agriculture Development Program with funding from the Inter-American Development Bank. The equipment will strengthen the ministry's extension services to small and medium-scale farmers in regions 2 to 6 and 10, the Department of Public Information said. The handing over took place on Tuesday in the ministry's compound in Georgetown. During a ceremony, Minister Mustafa noted that extension officers have a critical role in playing the development of Guyana's agricultural sector. And on that note, we wrap things up by turning the pages of today's Kaieteur News to page 7, dedicated to being blunt. Investor confidence. How about Guyanese confidence? Everyone is making money from Guyana by the millions and billions. Bankers, boat builders, corporate bandits, all making money here. What about Guyanese doing the same from their wealth? How about something fair for them to keep Guyanese happy? Do they not count as human beings worthy of fair deal and the big money? And on that note, we wrap things up for today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. It's midweek, it's Wednesday, March 15th, the Ides of March from Julius Caesar. A rough day back in his time. We are in Guyana time, in the time of oil. Welcome to the National Outlook on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Exxon's headquarters to be built in Ogle. $160 million US dollars. That's a lot of money. What's that? That's 32 billion Guyana dollars. 32 billion Guyana dollars for Exxon's headquarters. What are they putting up there? A new White House to house the President of the United States? Well, according to Chris Ram, the US $160 million cost for ExxonMobil's Ogle headquarters, not recoverable. In other words, we can't claim it back unless former or current government gave cost recoverable or not. It's still up in the air. I don't think that has been finalized authoritatively. But what he said is what attracted my attention. PPPC, APNU plus AFC, I call it the PNC. I could care less about all that construction, about plus this. And PPP and PNC cut from the same cloth of negligence, slackness, and squandering of the people's patrimony. I think he's hit the nail on the head. When they're in opposition, the PPP or the PNC, they're all holy and noble, and how they're about all these good things they will do for Guyana. And the moment they get into power, we see all the leprosy in them, all the stench of them we smell. Because most of them, PNC, PPP, are a set of scoundrels, swindlers, rogues, bandits. Most of them, not all of them. You have a couple here and there, but it's to find them. So, Mr. Ram was right when he said that they're the same people. I have said they're twins. They are twins, and they are Siamese twins in that they are inseparable. You can't separate the PPP from the PNC. Both will tell you, no, I am not the PNC. We are not the PNC. And the PPP and the PNC will say, we are not the PPP. Can it? Take a sock and stuff it in it. Nothing could. They are both the same in terms of how they have managed this country. Before oil, it was like that. With oil, it's the same nonsense. It's the same ugliness. It's the same dark place in which this country finds itself. Because our politicians in both the PPP government, PPP opposition, PNC government, PNC opposition, same nonsense, same slackness, same crookedness, same wickedness, same impoverishment for you, my fellow Guyanese. This has been our reality. 60 years, what's it, 60? Yeah, 60 plus years. 6 decades. We've got Guyanese leaving by the hundreds of thousands in those decades, and it's the same story. The children come, a new generation, and they prop up the same foolishness, the same criminalities that keep dragging this country into the dust and make us into the laughing stock of the world. When is this going to stop? Who's going to stop it? Where's that going to come from? I would like to think that this PPP returning would have been better. I would have thought that the PNC, after 23 years out of office, would have learned a whole series of lessons on what it means to be about governance and about the people. I've been wrong on both counts, and I don't want to be wrong again. And where is the right? Where is the right government? Where's the right leader for us? I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM. You are listening to the National Outlook.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.